Okay, the second thing for color is we're going to be doing paint studies on the same page that we did our Prismacolor color wheel, because this whole page is documenting us learning by experimenting and practicing with color. So we're gonna be focusing on paint, and we're gonna focus on mixing different paint colors together to get different neutral or different skin tones or earth tones. We are gonna be labeling every color that we use. I'm gonna use a Sharpie so that you guys can see this, all right? And then we're also gonna talk about your painting supplies, like what you guys need. So first thing you guys need is a painting palette, and I have a bunch of Tupperware that we use as our paint palettes. When you're done with your paint, you cover it with your lid and it stays in your bin. And the idea is that this acrylic paint is gonna stay dry in your paint palette. So when you come back the next class, you have that paint you can use. At the end of the year or the end of the unit, when this is dry, we're going to peel the paint up, and acrylic paint dries like plastic. So I have a wall in my classroom where we staple, if we get a big chunk of it, we staple that big chunk and we can leave our mark in the room that way. And then the lid, you can use the lid as like a mixing palette to make some different colors. So this is one that didn't get cleaned out, but it's dries like plastic. I can just put paint right on top of it. So I'm going to get my colors. For each, well, for red and for blue, there are two different colors, two different values, I guess. So for red, there's bright red, and then our dark red, I never know how to say that word, alizarin crimson. So it's our dark red. So try to start with like a dime or a quarter amount, because we can always get more, but we can't put it back. When we run out of paint, we run out of paint. Like that's all she wrote. So again, try to get a little bit of paint. So I'm getting my bright red and my dark red. Alizarin crimson. So that alizarin crimson is my dark red, right? And then I have my bright red. Same thing for blues. I have a phthalo or phthalo blue. I say phthalo. That's my dark blue. Just get a little bit. And then my light blue is a cobalt blue. There you go. I've got my light and my dark of my blues. There's only one yellow, the one and only primary yellow. Get a little bit of that because we can always get more, but we cannot put it back. I also have 3 browns. I'm gonna wait on the browns to see if I need those. And then I'm gonna use white. We are not gonna be painting. So notice what I'm not giving you, right? These are the 3 primaries, but we're not gonna be, I'm not giving you the secondaries because you can make the secondaries, right? We mix these 2 and we get orange. We mix these 2 and we get purple. And we mix blue and yellow and we get green. But you gotta use more yellow and a little bit of blue. And then we need white also to make these colors. So I'm also not giving you black because we're gonna try to make black. I learned in a painting class that by mixing colors to get a rich dark black, it's going to not be as flat as using a black that comes from a bottle. So we're gonna, and we understand color theory better. All right, so that's my painting palette. I can always add browns later if I want to. For your painting brush, I would get a flat, soft brush because we're gonna be blending these colors together. And then you want water to clean your brush. And then I use like rags or towels in my studio because I'm always just wiping my brush onto that or my apron. I also just kind of wipe my brush onto my apron. That's why I always have to wear an apron, because if I don't wear an apron, I end up wiping it on my clothes. So good idea to wear an apron. A lot of times I don't clean my brush. I kind of like having a dirty brush, getting the paint on there, and I just wipe it on this. All right, so I have my little note page I'm going off of here. All right, so let's write down our colors first. Let me try to zoom in here and move over this way. So remember, we're doing this on the same page that we have our color wheel. This is all our understanding of color. So our 2 reds, we said bright red and ALIZARIN, crimson. And then let's paint those. So I'm gonna do the lighter one first. It's bright red. Get that paint off. Then get some of my alizarin crimson, my dark red. So if I were to layer that on top, it would be really dark, but just one layer doesn't look that dark, does it? All right, so now since I'm gonna use a different color, I'm gonna clean my brush. By the way, when I clean my brush, I kind of stamp it in there. I'm like hitting, can you hear it? Hitting the bottom. I don't like a lot of water on my brush. All right, so those are my two reds. I said my light blue was cobalt blue, and phthalo, phthalo, THALO, blue. Let's paint them. Get some cobalt. Oh, that's nice. All right, just kind of wipe that off my brush. Again, I don't want to keep adding water into my paint, so if I can avoid using water, I will. All right, you can tell it's a little darker, maybe. Yeah, Miss Houston can tell. Oh, I just made purple water. How did I do that? You know. And then, I guess I can do yellow. Although I only have one yellow. The one and only. They call me Melody Yellow. All right, so now I have my different color palette that I'm using, right? So the first thing I want to do is I'm going to mix alizarin crimson with yellow and phthalo, say it with me now, phthalo blue. All right, first combination we're gonna do. Are you guys ready? We're gonna do the, oh, I just closed that Sharpie, hi. Alizarin, the alizarin crimson, plus, oh my gosh, it's like we're doing math, you guys. Yellow. So red plus yellow is going to be what? You guys know, it's my favorite color. That's gonna make orange, right? So the complementary color to orange, the way we get brown or the way we go neutral is you always add the complementary color. So to orange, we are going to add our dark phthalo, PHTHALO. I just say phthalo blue, right? So we're basically making orange, and then we're gonna add this dark blue to that orange, okay? We're gonna do that here, and then we're gonna do it again, but we're gonna start with the base of white so you guys can see the difference there. All right, so alizarin crimson. And by the way, we're just gonna mix it right on our paper. We're gonna go crazy. You ready? All right, oh, you can't see what I'm doing, can you? Let me zoom out there. All right, so get a little bit of that alizarin crimson, put it right on your paper. Don't let it dry. Get some yellow. Get yellow on my brush. Oh, there's hair in there. Now, is that orange? No. Keep doing this till it is orange. That is gorgeous. That's orange, right? Now, I'm just gonna use the corner of my brush. I'm gonna kind of wipe some of this paint off, by the way. I'm just gonna get the corner of my brush, get a tiny little bit of that really dark phthalo blue, because it's going to want to overpower. And it did. So I'm gonna look at this color. What color is this right now? It's kind of, if it's too green, you would add the complementary color, which is red. So I'm gonna keep doing this till I try to get like a brown neutral tone. See what happens if I add more red. Looked better when I practiced, of course. Let's try to get more orange. And try to add my blue right back on top. Tiny, tiny bit. Okay, so I just made a really nice dark kind of brown color. So what I want to do now is try to practice getting gradations, like getting lighter with that color. So I'm gonna get another brush so I have more than one. That kind of helps sometimes with blending. It's gonna be my blending brush. I'm gonna wipe the paint off. My paint's drying, by the way. I can't sit and check my text messages from my mom. I can't check my, the Facebook. All right, I want to blend that. I don't want a line. I'm going to use this extra brush. I also have 10 tools right here. My poor mom had 11. Poor thing. Talk about my mom all the time. All right, so I'm going to keep doing that. I'm going to keep adding white. Try to get lighter and lighter into this wet paint. Remember, once it dries, it's dry. I'm going to use the other side. I got 2 sides to my brush. Oh, that's a nice bell. Your lunch has just ended. Remember, you can always use your fingers if you want help blending. So you're trying to show a gradation going from dark to light with that neutral brown color that you made. You made that. You did that, right? You're like, what? All right, so this is all right there. All right, now I'm gonna do it again over here, but I'm gonna start with white. And you're gonna notice this color is gonna look really different. Oh man. Make sure you don't kill your acrylic brushes. The way you destroy an acrylic brush is by letting the acrylic paint dry on your brush, because then it'll just have a coating of plastic. And then you just ate that thing, it's done. All right, clean my brush. I'm gonna do the same thing, but I'm gonna start with white, right? So I'm gonna get a base of white. Okay, now I'm gonna get my alizarin crimson. Boop. What color did we just make? It's Elsie's favorite, it's pink. Right, and then I wanna add my yellow to try to go orange. Oh, it could be more orange than that. Get some yellow in there. It's like a very pink blushy tone. And then we're trying to get a neutral brown. So I'm gonna add complementary color. This is kind of a pastel-y orange. So I wanna add the complementary color, the phthalo blue, a tiny little bit. Oh my gosh, is that too much? That's nice. It's like a foundation-ish tone. All right, so now I want to try to get lighter. So I'm going to clean that off my brush. Start getting white, add it right in there. So I'm going up into that wet paint. I can use the other side of my brush to try to blend it. I can use my 10 resources right here, try to blend it. I can also use an extra brush to try to blend it. Get some more white, keep carrying that down. Try to push yourself, right? This is hard. Painting is not something that we're all naturally born knowing how to do. So how do we do it? How do we mix different colors? How do we make color? All right, so I used that color combination and made 2 different skin tones with that same color combination. So find another spot. I've got room here, I've got room here. Dude, I got room in the center. We're gonna do it again. Now we are gonna go phthalo blue and orange. I feel like we just did that. Oh, I might have used a different orange. All right, so I'll have another one here. It just says purple and yellow. So we have to make purple. So let's say purple plus yellow. Purple plus yellow. Remember, because purple and yellow, can't see it. Purple and yellow are what? They're complementary. So we're thinking about complementary colors to get our neutral skin or earth tones. All right, purple and yellow. So I'm gonna use my mixing palette, which is the top of the lid, and I want to make purple. So to make purple, I'm gonna use this bright red. Let's try this, the bright or the cobalt blue. I had a clean brush, right? And you're gonna notice this is really dark. Oh, actually, it's pretty nice. It's a nice dark purple or violet. It's kind of a red violet. If it's a red violet, you add more blue. If you add too much blue, it becomes what? You guessed it, blue violet. So you want to keep in between. There you go. It's a nice dark violet color. All right, so we're gonna go purple plus yellow. So here's my, oh, look how dark that is. That is lovely. Here's my purple. Now yellow, I'm gonna clean my brush because your yellow is kind of frail. You know, it's very light, needs a lot of help. All right, let's try to add yellow right into that purple. We're going for brown, neutral, earthy tones here. I can be like, oh, purple and yellow, how I love thee. Sorry, I sing a lot. All right, I'm gonna clean my brush. Let's try to do a gradation. Get some white on my brush. Got white on there. Put your white right up in there. Don't be afraid. Now I wanna blend that. Eeks, how do I blend? I've got 10 tools here. I also have a clean brush. You can use it. Try using both sides of your brush. Okay, get some more white. I'm gonna clean that off my brush, use the other side, go back into that wet paint. What does practice make, guys? Progress. You still want to answer, don't you? You see Houston's being very quiet over here. There we go. Oh, I like the purple and the yellow combination. Okay, let's see what happens if we do the same thing, but we have a base of white. What's gonna happen? So here's my white, starting with the base of white. Then I've got my purple over here. So remember, this is all about practice and experimentation. And through practice and experimentation, shocker, we learn things. Oh, that's gorgeous. All right, there's my purple. Now I need my yellow. You know, wipe that off there. Get some yellow. Trying to get neutral tones, like you're making different skin tones for different foundations. All right, what's gonna happen now if I add white? Trying to get my value scale. I'm running out of room, aren't I? I'm gonna use the other side of my brush, wiping that paint off. Use the other side to blend. Clean that off. Get some more white. Use your 10 tools. My mama had 11. She's still alive. I keep saying had. That finger is no longer with us. I'll say that. You guys are gonna meet my mom one day and be like, I know so much about you. All right, so there's our experimentation with purple and yellow, with alizarin crimson, yellow, and phthalo blue. What do I have over here? So here I did phthalo blue plus orange, white for tinting, blue for shading, and I was able to get really dark because we're gonna have to figure out how can we get black? How do we get really dark without having black? So we're gonna keep working around this page. Oh man, I'm gonna turn this. All right, so I'm gonna write that down. Phthalo blue and orange. I can't put my hand down, can I? Okay, I'm in here. PHTHALO plus my favorite, orange. Okay, pop quiz after this test. How many fingers was Solzhen's mom born with? Okay. All right, so we need, we need to make orange, don't we? Okay, how do we make Solzhen's favorite color? I'm gonna do that on my mixing palettes. So when you're making orange, remember yellow is very frail, right? You need a lot of yellow for just a little bit of red. And let's use the brighter red. I just got a little bit of red to orange. And it would make a different orange if I used the alizarin, the darker red. Okay, here's our orange. And then let's go dark. Oh, that's a lot. I feel like we did this already. How did I get it on there? Now I'm just trying to get darker. I'm just experimenting. All right, let's try to use some browns to try to get, or let's see how we can get black. So let's try to get some black mixtures. We're making black. Is that there? No. I like to draw. I like to draw. Okay, making black. So some different ways we're gonna go about this. What are your two dark colors that you have on your paint palette? What are they? Do you know? Can you figure it out? You know. I'm gonna go ahead and mix on my paint palette. I'm gonna get some of that phthalo blue, right? And that alizarin crimson. So when we mix these two dark colors, we know it's making purple, but what it really looks like is just a really dark shade of a color. So from far away on a painting, it reads as black, but it's really rich color. So if I were actually working on a painted canvas of mine, I could start with that, let it dry, and then put another layer on top, and it reads as black. That's how people interpret that color. Now, if I want to practice getting lighter, get that paint off my brush. Ooh, I just got a fun color on there. Get some white, start painting up into that color. I'm also being lighter with my brush. What happens if I turn my brush the other way? I kind of love my paper towel, the marks that I'm getting over there. Let's keep getting lighter. Oh, what just happened? Cheap-tastic. Well, there goes that. All right, carry on. The show must go on. The show must go on. I'm crying over here. All right, so there we go. I have a value scale. I made a dark color that viewers, people, when they look at it, are going to read as black. It's like I'm fooling them. Tricked you, right? We know it's purple. All right, let's use some of our browns. We've got 3 browns. We've got this really nice kind of golden raw sienna brown. We've got this burnt umber and a raw umber. So we want to figure out which ones of these are going to be dark. The raw umber is looking pretty dark. Just a little bit. Boom. And then we'll compare that with our burnt umber. Now I do want you guys to mix your colors before you get the brown. It's not a lot of difference there. I think I like the raw umber. Really whichever one I have more of. All right, so this is going to be raw umber, not to be confused with my high school friend Amber. Okay, this is umber. All right, clean my sad little brush here. All right, so I'm gonna mix the raw umber with that phthalo blue. Raw umber plus my dark blue, PHTHALO. Blue. Is this still on the screen? Yeah. Move you down. So I can mix it on my paint palette, or I can mix it right on the paper. Doesn't really matter to me. It's kind of separated looking. I can't. I need a full-size brush. I got a full-size hand here. Remember, I'm trying to get a dark color. Let's try getting some more of that blue in there. You can mix on your paint palette or write on your paper. Let's see what happens if I add some alizarin crimson in there. And then again, if this were to dry, if I had the patience and I let this dry, and then I layer on top another layer, this is gonna be really dark. And it has some really beautiful purple tones because of that alizarin crimson in there. Oh, it's gorgeous. All right, let's start tinting it with our white. So I'm going up into that paint. I gotta get all this off my paintbrush. Oh, thank you, I'm off the screen. Oh no. So I'm gonna use a clean brush to kind of help fade that in there. Clean my brush. White. Am I still on? Here, I can also do this. All right, so I need to add on here that I added alizarin crimson. I'll just write crimson. I'm over the alizarin. All right, so this is what I want to see. I want to see you guys experimenting with different colors. trying to get different types of skin tones, different complexions, also practicing blending, and you're practicing value scales. You're starting with a color, then you're getting lighter, right? And then we're trying to get some dark tones using colors and not using black. And we can also experiment with what happens when we mix those colors with one of the pre-made browns. All right, questions? No? Good? All right. Also, make sure everything is labeled. And then this page, I think we're gonna do some reflection on here when this is dry. And then this is what you guys are gonna be turning in for documentation of experimenting and practicing with colors. All right, go.